Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight I just got back from watching M3GAN 2.0, the new Blumhouse sequel to, of course, M3GAN from, what, 2 years ago? And yeah, that first movie was a surprise hit. It went, viral or trending or whatever on TikTok, and everyone was doing the dance. And it was a pretty decent hit for Blumhouse, and, of course, that means they got to greenlight that sequel immediately. And at first, I think a lot of us were skeptical, right? Because like, okay, they're going to turn this into a franchise because they got to, right? But then we saw the trailer come out, and the trailer was showing us how basically it's going from PG-13 horror movie into basically an action movie, right? And I will say, you do still get a lot of that, but it's not quite to the extreme that the trailers made it out to be. You still do get a lot of the Terminator-esque like fight scenes and stuff, but that's really more regulated to the third act. For the most part, this kind of maintains a lot of the humor that the first movie had, but its plot is very almost politically thriller driven kind of, but it never takes itself too seriously, which I think is this movie's greatest strength, is that like it knows that this is very silly. We're just here to have fun. We're here to listen to M3GAN kind of just talk shit at certain points and make fun of everybody, and that's really what the movie is. I will say there is a twist that it's definitely not as straightforward as the trailers would make it seem, and the twist adds like this huge wrinkle to everything, but the way they go about it has me questioning some things about like how maybe this movie will be received, because you can definitely take some messaging from this that I feel like not everyone's gonna agree with. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. We'll get into it. But just overall, as a movie on its own, it's a decent action comedy. It's still, I'm assuming it's PG-13. I didn't actually check, but I'm assuming it is, because you still don't get really much blood at all. It's not, even when people do start dying and stuff does start happening, it's like, not a lot of blood is being shown. You occasionally get like a splatter of blood against a wall or something, but it's definitely still playing it safe. That way, like 13-year-olds can come watch this movie, right? I think like that's generally the plan on this one. And while the plot is a lot more complex than the first one, like there's so many moving parts, I do feel like they managed to land it in a way where it was like, okay, even though a lot of stuff just happened, I don't feel overwhelmed by it. Like they landed it in a way where I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And of course, potentially sequels in the future, maybe, if this one does well enough, I'm sure they will greenlight a third one pretty soon. So yeah, overall, I think it's fine. It's not quite as action heavy as I kind of wanted it to be. I thought it would be fun if it was, M3GAN chasing down this other robot for the entire movie, and it really is a Terminator 2 style mission, but it's not really that, like they're after her, but it's not like we're constantly fighting this robot, going from location to location, and it's like this fast-paced moving plot. It's not really that. Like there's a lot of downtime where they sit and they plan and they talk about what's happening and they try to explain things, even if it doesn't all end up making sense due to a twist that I'm going to say that at least some part of this twist was actually due to rewrites. It does feel like something happened where they rewrote some of the third act, but we'll go into that in a little bit. So anyways, that's M3GAN 2.0. I think it's a decent action comedy. It's, if there's a crowd of teenagers still on TikTok who really liked that first movie, they're definitely aiming for that crowd. If they whether they show up or not, I don't know. I will say my theater was like empty. It was like there was like maybe 3 other people there, so I don't know. I don't know if that crowd's gonna show up this time. I guess we'll see at the box office. But yeah, that's M3GAN 2.0. You know, if you like the first one, I think you'll still enjoy this one, even though it is definitely not leaning towards the, you know, evil robot horror movie kind of thing. You get like little hints of that, but that's definitely not what they're going for this time. But if you enjoy the characters and you enjoy M3GAN herself, they let her do her thing. You know, she makes quips and she makes fun of people and she says bad words occasionally, right? And like, that's her thing, right? So there you go. All right, now let's talk about a little bit of spoilers, a little bit of weirdness that happened in the third act, and possibly some controversial things that I think some people are going to be mad if they take it a certain way, which I can see happening, because I can't even tell if this was intentional or not from the filmmakers, if they meant for you to take you know, if they meant for you to take this message away from this movie. But here we go. So the plot that you're given in the trailer and for the whole like first half of this movie is that there is another evil robot out there. I think it's Annabelle or whatever. Not Annabelle, but one of the Amelia. It's Amelia, right? Another evil robot going across the world. They got to try and stop her because she's gonna unleash an even more dangerous, even more powerful AI that will end the world, right? And that's the plot. For whatever reason, Amelia has become self-aware. She wants to destroy humanity, and they got to stop her before she wakes up this even more evil AI, right? So they give M3GAN a body. They go on a couple missions where they're looking for her, and they confront her a couple times. And so far, you're thinking like, okay, that's what the movie is, you know? Pretty straightforward. Interesting plot, you know, Terminator-esque, like robot versus robot kind of thing. Pretty cool. So here's what ends up happening. At the beginning of the third act, we are basically told now that Amelia has never actually been sentient for the entire movie. In fact, she has been being remotely piloted by a group of anti-AI, I don't know if you want to call them an activist group necessarily. They definitely have money and funding, and so they have like their own even like little military unit. So this is like a very well put together organization that is anti-AI. They are trying to lobby governments around the world to regulate AI. That way something like M3GAN can never happen again. So their plan, this is their plan, is that they made up a fake AI robot to go rogue and start killing people and start trying to end the world. That way people would see what a threat these AI machines are going to be in the future, right? So again, Amelia is not sentient. The evil robot is not actually an evil robot. It's just a remotely controlled, you know, robot. So it's not a fully sentient AI. That's what I'm saying, right? So okay, interesting twist, right? You basically have the anti-AI folks being evil because they are willing to kill people in order to sell this this lie that is this Amelia AI robot, right? So interesting. All right. And then basically now you have M3GAN who's trying to help them stop these people because this organization has even kidnapped the little girl from the first movie. And so M3GAN agrees to try and help save her. And then, you know, right away I'm like, okay, so anti-AI people are the bad guys. And I'm thinking like, okay, so the messaging here in 2025, when there are a lot of people online who really are anti-AI because, you know, AI does steal a lot of art, you know, artists especially. It steals a lot of artist material, and you just put it through a filter and it's taken all these images that none of these artists were paid for. And, you know, it's a whole conversation. Like, obviously that's not what this video is, but I'm just saying that to make the anti-AI group the villains of this movie is one thing, right? And then they go a little bit further. So here's what ends up happening. So story-wise, while they're trying to escape, they end up reprogramming the Amelia robot, who again was just like a puppet, right? They end up reprogramming her with M3GAN's code, and she ends up going murderous and crazy, so she starts killing everyone. So it does still end on the good M3GAN, who is with them, and the same one from the original movie, and this new Amelia M3GAN. They have to fight each other, and coincidentally enough, right? Weirdly enough, this new Amelia AI, who they just woke up a couple of minutes ago, they just made self-aware by rebooting it. It immediately goes after the big MacGuffin that it was pretending to go after when she was being puppeted by the anti-AI group. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there, because basically the fake evil plan became the real evil plan by the AI that's now awake. And so she even absorbs this MacGuffin that they were all after, and now she's like super robot, and so M3GAN has to, you know, in quotes, sacrifice herself in order to blow up the evil robot. And of course, you know, M3GAN is not really dead. She's alive on a computer hard drive somewhere, and they managed, like, oh, she's in the computer now. Look, a little cartoon avatar. That's cute. The thing is about all this movie ends with the main lead, the mom character, basically in Congress or wherever, right, in the Senate chamber, giving this speech about how, like, hey, you know, those anti-AI people weren't entirely wrong, but, you know, maybe we should work with AI, maybe we should get to know it and we can grow together. And she basically gives this pro-AI speech during the entire ending of this in front of Congress, right? And so I don't know, it felt weird for this to be the year 2025, and you have the anti-AI people acting like insane murderers who are willing to just kill dozens of people in order to fake this robot uprising. And then you have our heroes, our protagonists, give this speech that is essentially like, hey, let's give AI a chance. Maybe, you know, maybe we'll get to develop with AI and work together, and it won't be this evil takeover, you know, if we're careful, you know. And so I don't know, guys, it is a weird call to like sit here and be like, oh yeah, 2025, while we're in the midst of all this AI controversy everywhere, let's make it so the anti-AI people are the villains. And I you know, the cynic in me, the person who's like, oh man, I can see some business suit, you know, up in Universal or Blumhouse, sitting behind a desk being like, hey, we want to start utilizing AI in our projects more. We're gonna push out a bunch of pro AI stuff. I like, the cynic in me can see that happening, right? Like that feels almost like what happened here. So I don't know, guys. That's, on one hand, it might just be for the narrative because they have a franchise where this robot is the main character, and of course they want to make more movies. So maybe, like, on that hand, they're like, oh, but, you know, we want to be a pro M3GAN, pro robot kind of franchise. But it definitely felt like it was like very blatantly taking a pro AI, like, real world stance here in the movie. So I don't know, people might feel a certain way about this movie if they're picking up the same things that I was picking up as I was watching it, because I was like, I don't know, it feels like you're taking a stance here, and this action comedy suddenly became like very relevant politically, right? So kind of, okay, all right, weird. Something else I noticed, and this, I know this happens to a lot of movies, but there are some key scenes that are in the trailers that are not in this movie at all. And I guess I can see maybe where they would have fit. Specifically, there's the part where there's a guy in a crowd, and he's got a wig. He's dressed up like M3GAN. He's got a wig on, and he's like talking to the camera, and he's like, "Oh, I love her, huh?" You know, and like everyone's holding up all these signs. That's not in the movie, and I'm not sure where that would be. But there's another part where M3GAN is like behind a giant, you know, like an action figure toy box, you know, like with a plastic window and everything, and then she like pops out of the toy as, you know, as if she was like a life-size action figure, and she like breaks through the packaging. That's also not in this movie. There is a convention they go to at some point, so I guess maybe both of those scenes could have happened there. But those were like widely used shots in the trailers, like everywhere, so it's kind of wild that they're not in the movie at all. Interesting. I'd be interested to see what was deleted from this movie, what from the ending was changed, because to be honest with you, the plot goes from, you know, Amelia wants to get to the MacGuffin, she's evil, we gotta stop her, and then it's like, okay, actually never mind, she was never actually alive or conscious, it's just this organization trying to fake an evil uprising. And then at the very end it goes, actually now Amelia is awake and she does want the MacGuffin and there is an evil robot uprising. You know, so it's like, okay, movie, all right, fine, you faked us out and then you reverse faked us out and you made the thing real and now it's really happening. So weird. I don't know. M3GAN 2.0, it's fine. It's a, you know, it's decent enough for an action comedy, but I am questioning some of its messaging, and it definitely does feel sloppier than the first one, if only because it has so much more going on that it feels like you could have cut a couple things out of this and really not missed much. You know, I almost want to say that the whole anti-AI group could have, you know, largely been cut. You could have just said that those people were the government trying to stop M3GAN because the government thinks M3GAN's evil, and that was already a thing, you know. So not just this group, but you also have the government and those people hunting her down, and you already have so many moving pieces. It felt like you could have taken some of those out of there and made this a much cleaner, easier to follow movie, because you got a lot happening. So anyways, that's M3GAN 2.0. You know, they're definitely probably gonna try to make a third movie, and I don't know, you know, they'll find something else to tackle there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole AI thing. Am I reading way too much into it? You know, if you've seen the movie, let me know how you feel about it, because for me it was definitely starting to feel like someone was trying to push a pro AI message here. It really started to feel that way at the very end. But also maybe it's just because they're robots and they want to support the franchise. They want people to like the robots. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Bye.